Good morning and happy match day for Manchester United fans. We will be getting into Manchester United's game with West Ham in this live show this Sunday morning and a possible 9 changes for Manchester United. But first of all, we're going through all of the speculation columns. We're going through a few of the papers and a few more reports online as well regarding Manchester United's summer ahead. All of the news from outside of the stadium, off the pitch for Manchester United this morning. We've got plenty to get through as well, starting with Jadon Sancho. Now, first of all, I do have to apologise to everybody who has been watching. I think I've cursed this one. It was only yesterday, I was talking about Jadon Sancho and not looking likely to be sent back and penalty paid by Chelsea. Here we go, United. Thank you for nothing. There's 5 million. There's Jadon Sancho back. There was no reports. Bang. As soon as I said it, reports have emerged, and they're all over the Sunday papers as well, about Chelsea sending Jadon Sancho back and paying that 5 million penalty. Honestly, like the thumbnail says, again, just please do something this summer, Manchester United, so we don't have to sit here every single end of a season, building up to a transfer window, sitting in a transfer window, having to worry and deal with the likes of a Jadon Sancho saga or a Marcus Rashford saga or anything to that matter. And it is just a constant every single summer. We have to deal with a not right. We have to deal with a reject. Someone who has caused a stink at Manchester United and has been a nightmare transfer from what we paid for him, how much we overpaid for him, what wages he's on, how he's not performing, fallout with the club, fallout with staff, whatever it may be. There's always something, isn't there? Can this be the last summer, please? It just goes to show, though, again, the significance of a summer that Manchester United have to get right and what they're up against. And poor old Ruben Amorim, who's had nothing to do with Jadon Sancho, has got something else that has to be dealt with before the necessary important stuff that we talked about through every single day this week. In fact, the last few months of what United need to get done in this window. And it opens up on June 1st, like we've said. We are literally 3 weeks away today from that transfer window opening up. And Manchester United's pre-season, the biggest in the club's history. I know I'm not just saying that because I say that every single summer, but we all know it is. And you've got Jadon Sancho sat here waiting around. Honestly, he's just the most unwanted man in the Premier League, it would seem. I don't think there's any fan base that likes him. Chelsea do not like him. He's turned up the last few days, and I thought that was going to be enough for him. Maresca loves him, and I thought that was going to be enough. But the reports today, and we're only going to read off what's been said, and we'll get your opinions on this in the live comment section as well. But Jadon Sancho back to Manchester United. But, and there is a but on this, and this is why I'm not too overly concerned about what I've just said about the saga coming in. Let's deal with it. Let's get it sorted straight away. And hopefully, with this new structure in place, Man United are already making plans for this. And if they know that Jadon Sancho is coming back, they've already got a suitor or they've got a plan to deal with him past that. 5 million in your bank. Let's go and sell him again for 25 million and make 30 million instead of 25 million. Can we not do that? Yeah, I think we can. Look, I think Jadon Sancho has got credit over in Germany, and these are where these stories linking him to Bayer Leverkusen have come from. Now, Bayer Leverkusen have got an awful lot of business going on this summer. Obviously, yesterday, Harry Kane picked up his first trophy. More on that on Football Talks, by the way, which we will be doing live straight after this show. Lots to get into on Football Talks as well. Massive transfer news on big players in Football Talks. But going back to Manchester United, that will come later. United, in terms of what we're looking at right now with Jadon Sancho, Bayer Leverkusen's situation is a bit of a loose cannon as well this summer. It could be anything. It could fire off anywhere for them. Obviously, you've got the news on Xabi Alonso going to Real Madrid, possibly potential manager to replace Carlo Ancelotti, and all of that news. Jonathan Tah, we're going to talk about him in a minute as well, because there is a story spinning off this Jadon Sancho and Leverkusen one with Jonathan Tah. But Jadon Sancho, apparently, according to Bild in Germany, is not wanted back by Dortmund. Now, the papers have speculated that Dortmund and Leverkusen are interested because they know already that Chelsea are going to pay this penalty for Jadon Sancho to come back to Manchester United, and they are primed, ready to go, because Jadon Sancho has starred quite a few times in Germany. Obviously, what made him in Germany at Dortmund in the first place, where Manchester United spent serious money on him, and he goes back on loan last season, helps Dortmund get to a Champions League final and has a good season there, half season with them, in the midst of everything that was going wrong at Manchester United. So he has got credit in the bank in Germany, and he will be cheap. 25 million Brian, United are not going to really try and get any more out of this, I don't think, because they've got that penalty coming back if Chelsea do send him back in, and then they can sell him for 25, which they were comfortable in doing with the loan with Chelsea anyway. So we know the fee, we know what it's going to cost, we know that Jadon Sancho is going to go. He's not going to play for Manchester United again. We have to find a deal that works for us. But Leverkusen, with everything that's going on, obviously they've missed out on the title. Xabi Alonso leaving, all of them stories. Obviously, you're looking at Jonathan Tah leaving in a free transfer as well. You've got Florian Wirtz and that situation. And I think there is going to be a big change at Leverkusen going into the summer. But the interesting one on this is, and the one that could really scupper it, and just reading into detail on it, is the fact that maybe Erik ten Hag would be the manager at Bayer Leverkusen if Xabi Alonso leaves. Hopefully that isn't the case, because that could scupper another potential suitor for Jadon Sancho and Manchester United trying to get rid of him. Because we know that Erik ten Hag is not going to take Jadon Sancho to Bayer Leverkusen if he's the manager there. What are Bayer Leverkusen thinking taking Ten Hag in the first place? I do not know. But that rumour is going around and is building momentum that Ten Hag is going to end up managing in Germany next season. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one with him. But Leverkusen are interested, and the price I don't think is out of the way for Jadon Sancho for either of the German clubs. Now, don't forget also on this one, and I'm not saying that this is a definite, but Xavi Simons leaving RB Leipzig as well this summer for the money that he is, and a natural replacement just to come in to help them. Sesko probably leaving as well. So Leipzig have got massive money. Leverkusen will have massive money also as well this summer with the likely departure of Florian Wirtz. Now, that's not a definite. None of this is a complete definite, by the way. These are just the stories that we're talking about this morning. But we do know for certain that there is a chance that Jadon Sancho is going to be sent back to Manchester United with that penalty paid by Chelsea, and United will have to try and find another suitor. No one in England is going to take Jadon Sancho. We've heard about the possibility of him going Wolves. Can Wolves afford Jadon Sancho's wages? German clubs probably can't afford his wages, but what they do have in Germany is high wages on incentivised contracts. And there are plenty of players that are on decent amounts of money in Germany because of this. Even the likes of Ekatike, when you look at his contracts at Frankfurt, he's very similar. He's paid well over 100 grand a week wages, and that's in pounds as well when you transfer it from euros. And so there is a possibility that it can happen. It will be incentivised massively in that performance-related wages will be added at certain points and bonuses and stuff like that, but they can afford his wages. And the price that they will have to pay for Jadon Sancho really brings that into the affordability bracket for a lot of the German clubs as well. But it does look like that's the only place that he's going to end up going. Look, it could spin around, and this report is an obvious one. But again, like I said at the top of the show, there hasn't been anything going around about Jadon Sancho coming back, apart from this story now dropping on us this morning, which is pretty gutting, to be honest, as a United fan. I just don't want Jadon Sancho anywhere near our football club, and that's where I'm at with it. And I think every single United fan is the same. But to release him in the summer and get rid of him, these German clubs are probably our only option. And yes, Maresca could turn around and say, I want to keep Jadon Sancho. Like before I've said, Mudrik's leaving, Felix is leaving as well from Chelsea. They are going to need another forward, and I think Jadon Sancho hit and miss, yes, at Chelsea this season, but could still maybe sneak in to Maresca's thinking going into next season. Look, at the end of the day, he's probably going to help him win that Europa Conference League trophy unless Betis turn up. Interesting side act there. Antony, United reject against Sancho, United rejects in the final of the Conference League. It tells you everything about where players should be and what clubs and competitions they should be competing in, doesn't it? But yeah, if Jadon Sancho does help Chelsea get Champions League football, get that trophy, then maybe. A big game for them today against Newcastle. I think that's pretty much one. Whoever wins that game today, I think is in and pretty much set to be in the Champions League next season. There is still the side that, like, obviously, Manchester City dropping points yesterday and Aston Villa winning. Chelsea and Newcastle's game today is massive for them. So, yeah, if Jadon Sancho starts turning up and helps Chelsea win that place in the Champions League, it could all still spin around. But that is the report, and that's the story going around about Jadon Sancho this morning in the morning papers. We spoke about Bruno Fernandes last night. That is in the papers as well, as the third attempt comes in from El Hilal to take Bruno away from Manchester United. We did the story on that last night, so you can go watch that later. But Jadon Sancho as well in the same tabloids this morning about possibly coming back to Manchester United, but going out, and United's contingency being sending him out to Leverkusen possibly. They are interested in taking Jadon Sancho. So let's see exactly what happens with Jadon Sancho over these next few weeks. Obviously, Manchester United will be up against Chelsea. He won't be playing. So effectively, Jadon Sancho has only got 3 more games left. This is his penultimate Premier League game because he won't be allowed to play against Manchester United next Friday, and then they've got the last game of the season as well, Chelsea. That's it, and the final. So Jadon Sancho really, last chance really today to have an impact on the Premier League standings, I would say, in that game against Newcastle. So be interesting to see if the Chelsea fans turn or change their opinions about Jadon Sancho, or if indeed Chelsea do go all in and pay that 25 million with what's leaving the club already. But that's your update on Jadon Sancho and where we're actually at right now. There are clubs in Germany that do want him, so it's not the end of the world if he is sent back on a 5 million penalty fee to Manchester United. But just be aware that it could still all go up in the it could go up in the air. It really could. Let's get some comments in on this one. Get your thoughts in on Jadon Sancho. Are you concerned about Manchester United and him coming back for 5 million? I think I'm confident that United could actually still move him on, to be honest. And again, it's like, Welshman forever. Well, United should never do business with Chelsea again. No, with what's happened with Mount and Sancho, I don't think Manchester United need to be going nowhere near Chelsea again when it comes to talking about or dealing with any transfer or any player. Just leave them alone. They are one crazy car wreck of a football club in how they conduct business, I feel. Yes, you can say that it's worked for them because they're up there and we're not, but still, man, that just seems complicated. It really does. Again, I don't know why this story, and this one's just come up this morning, again, with Tonali. Sandro Tonali from Newcastle. Now, I spoke about this last night, and I spoke about this being Manchester United's not a chance in hell that we would be looking at Tonali, but I always keep a track of the news as it comes in, and while we've been live again, there is another story that has come out, and this has come from Nicola Scherer, a journalist over in Italy, who has done he's got a massive following as well, and has done a lot of Manchester United transfer business, particularly when we were negotiating with players from Italy last summer and in January, in fact. But Nicola Scherer is saying Manchester United and Manchester City are interested in Sandro Tonali, but Newcastle United, he is being considered untouchable, and it will be very hard to convince them to sell. United actually thinking that Tonali would be an option still. Again, just touching on other little side stories as we go along in the live show, and I just don't get that at all. It is definitely not a Manchester United option, I don't think. We are not going to be going in for Sandro Tonali. It's not happening. I can tell you that for nothing right now. There's no way that he leaves Newcastle. There's no way that Newcastle actually sell Tonali to Manchester United or Manchester City. It is a no-go, I'm afraid. Not happening. And again, these stories that just keep popping up is because of silly season being here. Manchester United transfer window is going to be a crazy one. In fact, when we go over to Football Talks after this show, we're talking about how big a transfer window and how much money is actually going to be spent this summer by Premier League clubs. It's going to be a mad one in terms of the amount of money as well as the amount of signings. Now, at first I thought it wasn't going to be that big a spend summer because of financial fair play and PSR rules, but with the window opening sooner and clubs being in better financial positions because of the extra competitions that are going around and bigger fees being paid for players again, it does look like it could actually be a record summer, definitely for the Premier League anyway. And it's going to be one that we're all over here on FUTV, but also on Football Talks, which we're going to be on in just a moment's time as well with other clubs. Interesting, definitely on Arsenal's side of things as well on that one. But yeah, let's get some more comments in. Please do drop what you think about Jadon Sancho in. We are going to talk about the team as well later on for today, which is going to be an interesting one. I've got an update coming, but I want to talk first of all about Jonathan Tah and his situation. Now, we just talked about Leverkusen possibly being in for Jadon Sancho if Chelsea do indeed send him back to Manchester United. Now, Leverkusen, obviously, and Jonathan Tah, they were trying to hold on to him last summer. And again, I think with everything that was happening at Leverkusen, the unbeaten season, everything that was great with Xabi Alonso last season, and then just wanted to continue on again this season. It hasn't worked out for them. Obviously, after the Lord Mayor show, they've dropped down a level. It's hard to keep that consistency up, as we all know, in terms of continually winning league titles or even that unbeaten run to a certain extent. There had to be a come down. And I think Leverkusen have missed the trick here, really, with Jonathan Tah. And him going on a free transfer this summer is definitely a missed opportunity to bring some more money in for Leverkusen. Not worried about it from United's side of things, obviously, but Manchester United have been rumoured to be interested in Jonathan Tah. That was late last week, and now more rumours have come out through this week, which we've talked about United starting to negotiate. And then we heard from Florian Plettenberg at Sky Germany saying that Manchester United have now held concrete talks with Jonathan Tah's agents. Well, there is an actual story going around this morning that Jonathan Tah wants to go to the Premier League, and Bayern Munich are there and ready, as always, ready to take anything that comes out of any other German club. They do it all of the time, and it's always free transfers. But Jonathan Tah at 29 wants to go to the Premier League and have a go at the highest level. It's the hardest league, let's just call it. That's what it is. But that's what the report is saying anyway. He wants to go and play his trade in the Premier League and give it a go. And he wants to wait for Manchester United's outcome to the Europa League to see. Now, this is another player that falls into that Ruben Amorim category. And I bet he's wishing he didn't say this in terms of any player that wants to come to United simply because they're in the Champions League is not going to come to Manchester United. You cannot say that. You cannot use that as your benchmark for making transfers in the transfer window. It's impossible to do that because players do want to look after their careers. And if you are going to bring in a player for free who is at a certain age, who's going to make one last career change, which this will be for Jonathan Tah when you look at his age and what contract he's probably going to get, then he's going to be looking at what competitions you're in. So it is a realistic look, and you cannot say that just because they are not coming to United because it's United, they're not our players. That, for me, you cannot do. The game has changed. Manchester United are competing with everybody now. And just because it's United, players are not going to come to this football club. Some will, and we've seen that already in the likes of Matheus Cunha, which is great. And why United should go all in on players like that. And I'm totally in a complete agreement that Cunha will change Manchester United, and he is the perfect signing for us for more reasons than one. But that in particular, the fact that he wants to come to Manchester United simply because it's Manchester United, that's massive for us. But Jonathan Tah right now, Gyökeres, Delat, players like this who are calling out this summer's transfer window off the back of what teams are in what competitions, I think is fair because it's their careers as well. And we can always look at what Man United need and what a player should do from our point of view, but we have to also look at the players' side of things. And I don't think it's fair to say, look, you should just come to Manchester United when there's other options there, and he could be playing in the Champions League. So the story is that Jonathan Tah, and this has come from Gimme Sports and an exclusive with them, saying that Jonathan Tah is waiting to see what Manchester United actually do in the Europa League final and does fancy Manchester United over other clubs as well. So that would be an interesting one. Now, I've spoken before about Jonathan Tah not being a necessity this summer. I don't think centre-back is an area of the pitch that United really do need to improve drastically on. I think we've got a good defence. Obviously, you've got Heaven coming back. You've got Leacher coming back as well. Next season, we'll have Leacher, Heaven, De Ligt, Yoro, Maguire. We've got plenty of centre-backs. Mazraoui will be a centre-back as well next season. I think the experience and squad depth for the Champions League is massive. If you bring in someone like Jonathan Tah, that is a big help for Manchester United. So that, I think, is how United are looking at this deal. And it's encouraging that a player is actually waiting, in fact. Like, United have a big, big attraction for any player, as we know. United with the Champions League, it opens up different doors for us. And I think Jonathan Tah walks through that door. If Manchester United in the Champions League, I think every other player that United are looking at is going to walk through that door if United are in the Champions League. Because they know there are spaces in Man United's squad. And Ruben Amorim will give players a chance. And I think there is an attraction there. And it's like agents will be looking in at Manchester United. Players will be looking in and going, you can see what Ruben's doing. You can see how he's trying to give players a certain opportunity. Like he gave Rasmus Højlund and Garnacho a chance to a certain level, to a certain amount of time in the game against Bilbao the other night. And then that was it. Sorry, off you come, not good enough. Look, if you play well for Manchester United under Ruben Amorim, you're going to get game time. You're not just going to be brought in and be sat on the bench. You can see looking at United, even if you're looking in from the outside, if you play well, you're going to get game time. That's what I think is attracting players in. And if you've got the cherry on top, which is the Champions League, then players like Tar will look at United and go, I fancy that. Maguire's leaving next season. 2 centre-backs are gone this season, 2 senior centre-backs. He will then be up there with one of the most experienced Manchester United defenders at the club. Could you imagine next season if you've got the likes of Lenny Yoro, Matthias de Ligt and Jonathan Tah as your 3 centre-backs? That's strong. And looking at that, you've got Leacher, Heaven and Maguire backing them up. That squad depth, that's exactly what Champions League, the Champions League will be, what we'll need in the Champions League, sorry. And I think that is how United will look at this. And only because he's a free transfer. That's it. But still, Jonathan Tah waiting for United is a really good sign for us. It is a really, really good sign for us. And I think that ultimately will be Manchester United getting the Champions League and getting players like him in. And it gives us a chance to go far in the competition, which is all we can hope for next season. Like, go as far as you can in the Champions League. Get as much money as you possibly can. We can't win it. We're nowhere near ready. And help Manchester United actually develop their Premier League squad, because players wanting to play in the Champions League is great and that attracts them into Manchester United. But what it does do, it strengthens our Premier League squad as well. So these players playing in the Champions League and the Premier League, whereas before I'd rather go and play for a Premier League club that's in the Champions League. And that's where United's level of player drops down a little bit, I think. But beating Spurs in a couple of weeks' time and being in that Champions League gives United the better opportunity to move up that table in the Premier League. Even though it's probably the Champions League which is attracting these players in, you're still going to have a stronger team in the Premier League week in, week out, and a stronger depth. It's like we're thinking about this game coming up today against West Ham, and you're rotating players. Can you imagine rotating Jonathan Tah, Leacher and Maguire instead of, for instance, Johnny Evans, no disrespect, Tyler Fredrickson, we'd love to see young players coming in, and Victor Lindelof. Can you imagine that squad rotation instead of what we've got right now? I think the academy players, realistically, will get their chance at certain times in Manchester United's team. But again, being able to do that in the Premier League and the Champions League is completely different to what we've got now. And that's what players like Tah will bring. If we can move forward from the back, from the defence, which we've got plenty of cover and plenty of depth in, bring that into midfield and then bring that into attack, you can see a free transfer for a centre-back like Tah, and if his quality this summer is brilliant, because that just adds to what we've got to do and spend the rest of our money on, which is midfield and attack. And then you're looking at a different Man United altogether going into next season. Into the chats, let's get some comments in on this. Chelsea about to humble the freedom fighter. Sancho's lack of professionalism is his undoing. Always will be, mates. With the key long-term injuries at centre-back, they might actually need Tah, even with the youngsters coming through. We always need more quality and more depth, mate. It's simple as that. Babs says, poor Ruben Amorim stuck with another troublemaker. I feel sorry for him, Babs, but I'm confident we will deal with that situation in the summer. Poor performances late for training, consistently bad attitude, staying up late, playing computer games, out a lot of the nights, smoking shisha, you name it. That's Auntie L talking about Jadon Sancho and talking to someone else about Jadon Sancho. Look, Jadon Sancho's time is done in England, I think. I really do. I don't think Chelsea are going to trigger it. I hope they do, and it just ends all of the drama, doesn't it? I don't think they will, though. Sancho, suit Bundesliga, you never know with a new manager. If he performed well at Leverkusen, and he has gone on a loan deal to come back to United next season, and doing very good. Some good money can come in. I don't think so, mate. It's not. Sancho's not coming back to Manchester United. I'm pretty certain of that from what I've been told anyway. Amram did say he hadn't spoken to him about Champions League, but deep down, I'm hoping a deal has been agreed already. Is that about Gyökeres? Please do tell me on that one. Let's see what else we got. Getting rid of Casemiro depends really. If we're getting a striker like Gyökeres or Osimhen, then we would need to sell him to clear up wages. But if we're getting someone like Delap, then keep him. Kind of counterproductive, to be honest, isn't it? That's how I see it. But yeah, look, I mean, looking at that, Sancho is definitely in Man United's plans for the financial side of things in the transfer window. So is Antony. So is Marcus Rashford. I think there is an element of Casemiro there as well, like we spoke last night about. And possibly even Garnacho if you're bringing in 10s. We've discussed all of that before. If you're not getting the Champions League, it just makes everything easier. And what they can do and what they will be able to do is get deals done quicker and then deal with the nightmares. So the bonus of Champions League also gives United the opportunity to go out and buy players without selling players. And that's after July 1st as well, when the official financial year ends in football. So what we're doing right now, in terms of the two players coming in June, like we discussed, possibly Delap and Cunha, for instance, let's just use them as an example. That's all within this year's finances, which ends on the 30th of June. July 1st starts a new year, and United will do more business then. So I expect 2 in June. And then once July 1st hits, because of that Champions League money that's coming in to Manchester United, they will be able to calculate exactly how much they will get from 8 games in the league phase, confident enough that they will get another 2 games at least in a playoff in a Champions League table, all if we qualify and win the Europa League final. Don't forget that. So don't come back at me and say I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. But they will be calculating, 10 games in the Champions League for Manchester United. The finances of that and what money comes in for Manchester United, they will then be able to go out and buy players off the back of knowing that they've got a good chance of selling other players on, like Antony, like Sancho and Rashford, definitely leaving, and get deals done quicker. So fixing the issues and then dealing with the shit, instead of having to get rid of players to then go out and spend money. I think this is what having a football structure in place does. Organisation. Knowing exactly what to do when the summer window opens and how to attack it to get deals done that are necessary before you have to deal with problems. Whereas before, the sagas are dragged on and on and on and on, and United end up spending more money than what they should because they're just desperate to bring players in, which has been the last couple of windows under Ten Hag, or Ten Hag's first 2 windows. I think the structure behind Ten Hag was kind of desperate. Ten Hag's eye for a playoff, you can debate all you want, but it wasn't Ten Hag who spent that money. That was Manchester United's management team, which just blew that. And Man United then are now dealing with what we've got now. So I think 2 players in June, definitely. We've got the money for that and the structure's there to do it. And then you're looking at, obviously, after the new financial year starts, July 1st, United will then be able to calculate Champions League money in if we're in the Champions League, which is why it's so important. And obviously, if it does turn out that Bruno Fernandes ends up being sold, then, well, there you go. It's a free-for-all. You can go and buy like 5 or 6 starting 11 players if Bruno Fernandes is sold. That's the difference with Champions League money and Bruno Fernandes. But I don't think Bruno will leave, especially if we're in the Champions League. There's no chance Bruno leaves if we get Champions League football. In fact, I don't even know if I said it last night in that extra video I did, but if Manchester United get Champions League football, I think it completely kills off any thought of Bruno Fernandes leaving United. If United don't make Champions League football, I think the story continues a tiny little bit, but I still don't think he goes. But money talks, and 125 million you cannot ignore, and you have to accept, in my opinion anyway. Block with a super chat says, Adam, see you at Central Bay, 12:30ish. Come on, United. We will be in around there later on. Me, Kaz, and Frank's today going to the game. So, yep. I can't say I'm looking forward to the game. I want to move on to that now, actually. But I am. I always look forward to Manchester United games because it's just a match day vibe, isn't it? Build up to the game is probably the best bit these days. But United need to win this game today. And I'll tell you why United need to win this game today. And this is what I agree with in what Paul Scholes has said. recently, and I don't agree with what Paul Scholes says a lot at the moment. I think he's a bleeding sourpuss, a misery ass, to be honest, in how he's analysing Man United at the moment. Look, it's not great, I know, but my God, Scholesy, come on. Lighten up a little bit, at least. But, yeah, Paul Scholes saying that Ruben Amorim giving up on the Premier League isn't right for Manchester United. No, I've said this all along. Like, it's depressing, feeling like we cannot compete in the Premier League because we want to go for the Europa League. United need to win this game today just for the fans. They give something back to the fans. We haven't seen a Premier League win since we've come back from international break. We're in May. We came back from international break in bleeding March. It's embarrassing. Like, the last league victory for Manchester United was Leicester. And Aidan Heaven was playing in that game. That shows you how long ago it was. It's a joke, is what it is. That's Manchester United's league form. We need to win this game today to get Manchester, to give something back to Manchester United fans, like the home fans at least. I mean, it is dire right now. I mean, I'm trying to think back to, I think, do you know what? Actually, I'm going to just double check something while we're live actually here. Bear with me a second. I'm just going to look for Manchester United. I need to know, like, someone in the chat will come back to me in a moment and tell me when our last victory was in the league at home anyway. But I'm pretty certain our last win in the league at home was Ipswich. Wow, it actually was. I'm just checking through the stats right now. So we played Ipswich on the 26th of February, 3-2. Then we lost to Fulham, we had Sociedad, we drew with Arsenal at home, we drew with Manchester City at home. We lost to Wolves at home. It is. 26th of February was the last time Manchester United won a home game in the Premier League. That's ridiculous. I didn't even realise then, and something just triggered in my mind then as we were talking. I'm like, when was the last time that United actually won at home? It is staggering. It really is. So Manchester United, in fact, Manchester United's last league win was Leicester, and that was on the 16th of March. It's getting on 2 months since Manchester United actually won a Premier League game. It's near enough 3 months. It's 2.5 months since United won a league game at home. That's a joke. And you know what? When I'm thinking about that, you know what? Today you have to go out and win. Look, rest players against Chelsea. We're not going to beat Chelsea. I'd be playing a strong team today. I don't think there's any need at all to be resting too many players today. I mean, you've got a strong side. I think you could easily start Ahmad, Mount and Rasmus Højlund today. Or even Ahmad, Mount and Chido. I know everybody's scared about Ahmad and we need to wrap him up for the cup final and everything like that, and everyone's scared he's going to get injured. I mean, seriously, you cannot stop players getting injured. And what are you going to do? Rest Ahmad? Yeah, okay. Where did Ahmad get injured? He got injured at Carrington. He's not got injured on the pitch playing football. He got injured at Carrington. I think you can over-rest players, personally, mate. And I think Ahmad needs game time now. I think he needs to fine-tune and get his match fitness up because he needs to start. He needs to start against Tottenham in that final. And he hasn't played or started for nearly, going on 3 months now. So, yeah, a few little appearances here and there. Even if you play Ahmad for 50, 60 minutes today, perfect. And then you could probably look to Chelsea and say, right, okay, let's do the same again with Chelsea. Make sure you're bringing him off. But he needs to be starting games. Coming on and terrorising defences is all good and well in substitute appearances. And that's worked well for us with Ahmad recently. But still, I mean, come on. Ahmad needs to be playing football games for Manchester United. And it would be nice that United actually did win a game. That game is what we're looking at there, really. We're looking well over like 10 days away or something like that, aren't we? For that final right now. So it's more, you can easily play a strongest side today. I don't think we need to be resting players today. I really don't. I think we handled the game quite well on Thursday. I think we made the substitutions at the right time. And I'm looking at players. I'm going, you know what, today? I'm thinking today, Manchester United should be playing. I think we should be playing Luke Shaw. I think we should be playing Lenny Yoro at the back. I think both of them should be playing. I don't know what happens with the goalkeeper. Honestly, I would play Harry Amass at left wing back. I'd play Dorgu at right wing back. That's how I would do them two. In the middle, I would play Bruno Fernandes. I would play Bruno Fernandes alongside Manuel Ugarte. Again, if you want to rest Casemiro because he's the oldest player, fair enough. We need to start getting Ugarte playing well, I think. So I would play Bruno Fernandes or play Ugarte, or you could play Casemiro. I think they're all easily got an hour's game time in them, in their legs. And then you're looking at what up front, like I just said, you play Chido, I'd play Mount, I'd play Ahmad behind him. That's a great combination there. And I love the Dorgu and Ahmad effects on that right-hand side as well. That works an absolute treat for us. But yeah, that's it. I'd leave Garnacho out. I would leave... who else am I leaving out there? Realistically. Yeah, I think that works, actually. That would be my team today. I would go with that. No need to make wholesale changes and bring in a load of kids, I don't think. I mean, it's great to see them, and if Fredrickson does play again today, right behind it, I love it, but I don't think Manchester United need to go crazy today with the changes. We need to go out to try and win a Premier League game. It's getting more and more embarrassing for Manchester United. And I agree with what Scholes says, like, he doesn't like it, he says. There are rumours that United are going to make 9 changes in this game. Like, what are 9 changes when you think about it? Straight away, you could say them changes that I've just mentioned there. Shaw coming in, Bayindir coming in, there's 2. You could have Amas coming in, there's 3. You've got 3 up front in Ahmad, Mount and Chido. There's 6. Then you've got your midfielders. I don't think there's going to be 9 changes. I don't. I mean, what would you play? Let's get into the comments section now at the back end of the show. Who would you play in the game today? Let's get some more. Excuse me, sorry. Manny in with a super chat. Thank you, Manny. Love that. The players returning need a full 90 before the cup final. Play them all. Dorgu is playing too many games. He doesn't get a chance to watch how others play and improve. To be honest, but there's no one in his position to actually watch and play and be better than him. Is there really? Unless you want to play Ahmad there. Mazraoui is not a right wing back. I would play Dorgu. Honestly, I would play Dorgu on the right hand side. Let's see. I think we give far too much stock to the whole players that need a rest thing. Telling me that physical machines can't do more than 90 minutes work a week. Give me a break. What about injuries, Adam? There's a little interest in the league, mate. Well, if you're thinking about injuries, I've just said it there, mate. Ahmad got injured in training. What's the point? Like, as Manchester United right now, we are saying give up on the Premier League and rest everybody because of the Europa League. I get it. But resting players, you're still going to bring Ahmad on off the bench and he could still get injured there. You're still going to bring Mount on off the bench if you don't start him. Start them. It doesn't matter. You cannot wrap players up in cotton wool constantly all of the time. Injuries will happen when injuries happen. Ahmad hasn't been overplayed. Mount hasn't been overplayed. These players need more minutes in their legs. They really do need more minutes. And it's all right resting out Garnacho and saying rest him or rest Højlund. They have been playing non-stop because there's been no one else there available. You have to start giving minutes to to the likes of Ahmad, to the likes of Mason Mount. It's time. I think Mason Mount will be chomping at the bit after his form. But yeah, I get what Ruben says. I get what Fred said there in the chat. Like, everybody's worried about injuries. We're worried about injuries all the time. We are. And again, look, what happened? 2 of Man United's biggest injuries recently, what are they? Ahmad and Dalot. 2 players that have been key and our first team guarantees near enough, aren't they? Both injured in training. But what's the difference? It's training where we need to be careful. The games take care of themselves. And I think this is what people are getting mixed up. Like, it's like these players are getting injured all the time. Like, you could look at De Ligt. He's been unlucky with a couple of impact injuries. That's it. You still got to play these players. Because if you don't play them and they're not match sharp, ready for that final, then you're going to come up against a team that's not fully prepared and ready to go. This is the risk that you must take, and it is a risk. I get it, and everybody's scared because the season is all resting on the Europa League final, but you still have to take each game as it comes. And I think today, make a few changes, rest a few players. but keep that momentum going. Like Kaz says in the chat there, keep that momentum going. We've just won a game. If we win against West Ham, it's just building up that vibe, and it's just building up confidence within everybody in the team and in the squad. Everyone's getting minutes. Everyone's playing well. Ricardo says, Bayindir, Maguire, Short, Lindelof, Kamasa, Nagate, Mainu, Amas, Ahmad, Garnacho, Chido. Look, you could have Mainu in midfield there today as well next to Bruno. Look, easily make a few changes, but I think the players coming in are going to be first-team players anyway. Like Shaw and Mainu could start easily. You could easily say that, if you think about it, you're making changes, and 4 of them changes are Mainu, Shaw, Ahmad, and Mount, and you could add Chido to that. That's half a team changes. Some would actually argue that that's actually making Man United even stronger in this game today. That's how I look at it. If you're loving the content, by the way, please put a like on the video. Make sure that you do hit that subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel and are just watching for the first time. This is our Sunday morning show. We're going to move into football talks after this. You will be directed straight across to football talks. So again, thank you everybody involved in the chats, everybody involved in the show. We are going to move across to football talks now and get over with everything else that's going on in the Premier League. Mods in the chat, thank you so much. Drop your comments in on all of the topics. Sancho, Tar, what team you would play today. Should we be resting players? Drop them into the comment section when the live finishes, everybody. But for now, that is us done on FUTV. Next time I see you on here will be after the game later on. So yes, this is our look ahead to the game and all of the news all in one today. With it, all of these early kickoffs does my head in, it really does. It just messes up the whole schedule. But look, that is our day. That is our morning show done, everybody. Thank you so much. I will see you over on Football Talks in just a moment's time. Like the video, subscribe.